Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 50 anime scenes where the hero goes berserk.
こいつら相手にどんな手を使いやがった
Number 50. Miseng loses her mind. Tower of God. Even anime based on South Korean manhwa somehow end up having a tournament arc. In this particular battle, Miseng, who was viewed by many as the weakest competitor in the tournament, ends up going on a rampage courtesy of the red flowers given to her by Verdi.
やめろ!
ベルティ様万歳!
With one giant swing, she takes out two dudes who are twice her size and sends them flying. She isn't done with them, however, as after taking out two more enemies, she quickly turns her attention to her own teammates, much to their dismay. Number 49, Kagura goes full Yato. Gintama. As members of the Yato tribe, both the airheaded member of Oddjob's Gin and Kamui's subordinate were monsters when it came to their physical strength, able to dish out and withstand an incredible amount of punishment.
ヤトの本能を抑えようとするあまり、拳が俺に届く前に死んじまってんだよ。
Though, given his years of training, Abuto seemed to have the clear advantage over the younger, less disciplined Kagura, at least until she snapped. After embracing her Yato instincts, the weight and force of Kagura's blows escalates to the point where she's able to immobilize the veteran warrior easily. She just had to sidestep on the whole sanity thing to get there. Number 48. Tojima refuses to give up. Tojima wants to be a Kamen Rider. You've got to give it to Tojima. Once he puts on that plastic Kamen Rider mask, his strength almost matches the real deal. During a mini-tournament arc to help train our wannabe Kamen Riders, Tojima ends up facing off against the incredibly talented Tackle. She hits him with an onslaught of powerful maneuvers that would put anyone out for the counts, but somehow, in a berserk state, Tojima manages to get up every time.
どう?私の新電波投げ。
Seriously, it happens so many times that Tackle begins to question if he's actually human. Luckily for her, she was able to secure the victory, but that's only because Tojima's mask happened to fall off mid-battle. Number 47, Obito loses his innocence. Naruto Shippuden. The mystery regarding Tobi and his true identity finally came to a head when we learnt the tragic truth of his past. In reality, the masked puppeteer behind the formation of the Akatsuki was none other than Obito Uchiha, Kakashi's childhood friend who had assumedly been crushed to death by a boulder years prior. As it happened, he overcame his near-death experience just for the chance to see his beloved Rin again, only to arrive just as she had been murdered. Blinded by his sorrow, Obito ended up unlocking the true power of the Sharingan before going to town on some very unlucky ninja. Number 46, Keiichi commits murder. Higurashi when they cry. A lot of crazy stuff goes down in Hinamizawa, but Keiichi's meltdown here showcases best the pure brutality that the series is known for. After going through some pretty darn creepy situations with his friends Reina and Mion, Keiichi wakes up in his room with them by his side. While things seem back to normal at first, it suddenly takes a very dark turn when the two attempt to inject him with an unknown substance.
なんだよそれ! 何の真似だよ。
ケイちゃん分かってんでしょ。
The show suddenly cuts ahead to Keiichi going absolutely ballistic with a baseball bat, continuously bashing the friends he had just killed. This uncharacteristic moment for Keiichi clearly shows that even he has become a victim of the Hinamizawa syndrome.
どうしてこんなことに。
Number 45, Goku's Family, Dragon Ball Super. Goku's one of the most easygoing shonen protagonists out there, so you're gonna have to do something pretty heinous for him to lose it. In his battle against both Zamasu and Goku Black, the evil pair finally revealed the truth. Turns out Goku Black is in fact also Zamasu from another timeline, who used the Dragon Balls to switch bodies with Goku.
What the what?
Fascinating.
This isn't the worst of it, however, as the former Supreme Kai apprentice tells Goku he brutally murdered both Chi-Chi and Goten while assuming his form. Goku is absolutely livid and explodes on the two with a furious rage. People like to joke that Goku doesn't care about his family, but from this scene alone, it's quite clearly not the case.
Here's what I think of your immortality!
Number 44, Sayonara Sensei, Yu Yu Hakusho. Considering this guy was responsible for Yusuke's second death, we'd say the spirit detective was more than entitled to a little payback. While Sensei's skills remained unsurpassed by both mortals and demons, they didn't end up counting for much when Yusuke clawed his way back to life, now in his Mazoku form with his ancestral father now in the driver's seat. Seriously, the brutality he inflicts on Sensei is so vicious that it probably sent all 7 of his personalities running for the hills. Number 43, From Metal to Machine, Digimon Adventure. As you'll also see later on this list, the Digimon franchise has featured many Digivolutions gone wrong, but this one may be the darkest. When Devimon digivolves into Dondevimon and appears to devour Metal Greymon's Digidestined Tai, our hero completely loses it and appears to digivolve into a form that closely resembles Machine Draymon. Equipped with powerful laser beams, this dark Digimon quickly pins down Dondevimon and proceeds to viciously tear them apart. If it wasn't for a last-minute change of heart, Agumon could have been lost in the madness forever. Number 42, Shinra gets possessed. Fire Force. Despite being labeled a devil and ostracized, Shinra never abandoned his dream to become a hero. While we can't help but root for him, there are times where his inner devil tends to lash out. After being tempted and possessed by the first pillar, Shinra becomes hell-bent on burning those who've wronged him to a crisp. Needless to say, it's a little unsettling watching the heroic Shinra transform into such a monstrous version of himself, especially after he works so hard to overcome the stigma that's haunted him for years. Number 41, Rem the Oni, ReZero starting life in another world. After a swarm of hellhounds ruin what was looking like a perfectly romantic night between the King of Suffering and the adorable Oni, Rem's vicious side comes out to play in force. With her horn acting as a death beacon, it doesn't take her long to start turning everything into dog meat. Sure, the whole thing resulted in Subaru getting mauled, but at least he went down freeing his beloved Rem from her violent urges. Number 40, Riders High, Eureka 7. It's fair to say that Holland wasn't exactly the best host to Renton when he first arrived on the Gecko. Even so, everything fell on Renton's shoulders when, after attempting to save the priest Norb, Holland found himself in the middle of an ambush. Pressured by his fellow Gecko State members, Renton bursts onto the scene with the Nervash and cleans house. But that's where it gets complicated. His conflicting feelings over Holland and the adrenaline rush he feels in combat overpower his actions, and he soon finds himself high off the rush. He hammers the last opposing LFO relentlessly, reducing its pilot to a bloody paste. It's only after he sees what's left of the human inside that he realizes what he has become. Number 39, Eren embraces the Titan, Attack on Titan. Turns out that getting crushed and impaled can really bring out the monster in a person. After Annie is revealed to be the female Titan, she transforms within the walls and proceeds to go on a rampage, nearly killing Eren in the process. Fueled by his hate of the Titans and the fact that one of their own had betrayed them, he loses it and makes sure that Annie suffers. Eren fully gives in to the monster inside of him, to the point where he ends up tearing up Annie's Titan form like a rabid beast. Number 38, Inuyasha goes full demon, Inuyasha. At the beginning of the series, Inuyasha desperately wanted to become a full demon, but over time, his view changed, and this moment was likely a key contribution to that. Whilst trapped inside a venomous cocoon, Inuyasha gives into his demonic side.
Inuyasha! What's happening?
Once free, he goes feral and immediately begins to indiscriminately kill the bandits that surround his friends. Kagome and the others can only look on in horror as Inuyasha brutalizes his enemies one by one with his blood-covered hands.
You won't escape.
Luckily, his brother Sesshomaru arrives on the scene to stop him, but for a good while it looked like Inuyasha's human side had been gone for good. Number 37, Juggernaut Drive, High School DD Born. Sure, he possesses one of the most powerful weapons ever created by gods, but it's hard to imagine that the Oppai-obsessed Issei could ever be considered this dangerous. That is, unless you do something stupid like harm his harem. After the apparent death of Asia by Devil Shalba Beelzebub, Issei succumbs to his rage, forcing his sacred gear to activate its Juggernaut drive. By removing the limiter on the boosted gear, Issei gains tremendous power, but slowly loses both his sanity and life in the process. Though initially incomplete, there is no denying the Juggernaut drive's power, as it allowed Issei to use both Divine Divining and the all-powerful Longinus Smasher to decimate Shalba. Number 36, Hyakimaru's Hatred, Dororo. Just when you thought this series couldn't find a way to dig the knife any deeper, they pulled a stunt like this.
密偵の疑いありとして早急に処分されたのじゃ。
姉ちゃん、
It was bad enough finding out that the kind-hearted Mio was selling her body in order to raise money for the orphans in her care, but to see her then cut down by enemy soldiers, it was too much to bear. Hyakimaru evidently felt the same way, since he goes berserk and massacres every soldier he could reach. It's brutal, barbaric, and will likely leave you crying into a pillow. Number 35, Roy's Blaze, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. For all of his deceptions, scheming, and trickery, you'd have thought that Envy would have been smart enough to realize that tormenting a guy who can summon fire with a flick of his fingers was a terrible idea. After revealing himself to be Hughes' killer, the homunculus ended up lighting a match under Colonel Mustang, who proceeded to incinerate him over and over and over again. Despite all the transformations at his disposal, Envy still got himself torched every single time. Considering just how devastating Hughes' murder was, we don't blame Roy for losing it. Number 34, a wasted bento, Tenjo Tenge. Who knew that a classroom brawl could get so out of hand? In his quest to prove himself as the strongest fighter at Todo Academy, Soichiro is challenged by Juken member Masataka. When Masataka's skills prove to be more overwhelming than expected, Soichiro resorts to fighting dirty. After Soichiro uses a trick to land a blow on his opponent, things take a turn for the worse when Masataka completely loses it. What follows is a brutal beating that crushes Soichiro in both mind and body, with an emphasis on bodily harm. Eesh, all this over a bento box. Number 33, Asta's Malice, Black Clover. During the Spade Kingdom's invasion, the Dark Triad member Dante tries to convince Asta to join their side as they're both possessed by devils. Asta obviously declines, which forces Dante to get more aggressive with his negotiations.
話が合うと思うのだが。
同じなもんか。
Despite Asta's pleas, he destroys Rogue and then impales Ghosh with a giant sword-like object.
やめろやめろ
This causes Asta to unleash his demonic powers, countering every attack in an unhinged rage. Asta overwhelms him so much that he's able to get close enough to directly slice Dante in the face.
何をしても無駄。
Number 32, Kafka's Kaiju side, Kaiju number 8. When the truth comes out about Kafka's Kaiju abilities, he ends up getting confined by the Defense Force. After rigorous testing, it's revealed that Kafka's heart is now a Kaiju core, which leads to the Director General Isao taking matters into his own hands.
篠宮長官、俺は人間で。
Kafka refuses to fight back, proclaiming himself to still be human. Unfortunately, it all becomes too much for him to handle, and before Isao can land the killing blow, Kafka transforms into a kaiju and goes on a warpath.
あんたは人間でしょ。ヘリのカフカ。
Luckily, Kafka was able to regain control, but for a brief moment, it looked like his humanity had all but gone. Number 31, Rudo teaches Amo a lesson, Gachiakuta. After almost killing the cleaners, you'd think Amo would probably want to get on their good side, but no, she acts like a spoiled brat and blames them for ruining her home.
ほんと気分悪いな。お家も壊れちゃったし。ああ、罪悪感とかないのかな。
This bad behavior somehow mind breaks Rudo, who walks over to her and strikes her clean in the face. This isn't the most shocking part, as he proceeds to violently punch her multiple times, forcing his teammates to drag him away. Amo clearly deserved some sort of comeuppance for her deeds, but this was going way too far.
それに相手は女の子だ。
だからなんだ。
Number 30, Luffy Gum Gum goes out of control. One Piece. Luffy has cracked a few times across his adventures, but if there's one in particular that gave us chills, it's this. After his comrades are seemingly killed thanks to Kaido's devastating Bolo Blast, the Straw Hat Captain falls out of his senses. Now, in his furious mindset, he throws everything and the kitchen sink at the Beast Pirate's fearsome leader. Of course, it doesn't end in victory for Luffy during this round, but seeing him get this emotional over his friends should teach Kaido not to mess with them ever again. Number 29, Deku loses it. My Hero Academia. After everything Shigaraki had done up until this point, it's surprising how a few simple words is what broke our favorite heroic cinnamon roll.
一人で勝とうとしてんじゃねえ。
The seemingly hopeless battle against the leader of the League of Villains saw plenty of bloodshed, and Deku hoped to put a stop to that through blind, ugly violence. He harnesses his newfound one-for-all abilities to give the nutty killer a taste of what he's been dishing out. If it weren't for his nigh invincible body, it's clear that Shigaraki would be paced on the ground after this beatdown for the ages. Number 28, Farm Boy goes berserk. Bungo Stray Dogs. Kenji is just about the sweetest little fella you could ever meet. Sure, he has borderline terrifying physical strength, but you'd have to do something pretty egregious to get him to see red, like, say, threaten his besties at the Armed Detective Agency? Unfortunately for Techo of the Hunting Dogs, he didn't take that into consideration after easily taking down Kenji earlier on in the fight. He didn't realize that behind that gentle exterior was a complete monster hiding in wait that will stop at nothing to keep his friends safe. What's almost more terrifying is how easily he's able to snap out of it after absolutely wrecking Techo.
静かな頭で考えれば、僕があなたに怒る理由がありません。
Number 27, Itadori's Rage. Jujutsu Kaisen. It was very easy to hate Mahito more and more every time he appeared on the show, especially if your name is Yuji Itadori. After what appeared to be an emotional turnaround for Junpei's distress, Mahito quickly snatches it away by turning him into a monstrosity. This, coupled with Sukuna's refusal to intervene, pushes the young sorcerer over the edge. He now has only one thing in mind: punching a crater into the place where Mahito's face currently occupies. He ignores all the pain he's being put through and continues his relentless assault. Oh Yuji, if only you finished your fight here, you wouldn't be a victim to the horrors to come. Number 26, Soya Cries. Tokyo Revengers. Greatly outnumbered by Tenjiku, Toman certainly has a rough time in their battle against them, especially when the Haitani brothers begin to brutalize Hakai right in front of Soya. With his leg injured, Angry's emotions get the best of him and he begins to cry like a child. Now, usually you'd think this would be the end for him, but in Soya's case, it's actually the opposite, as all of his restraints come off, and he becomes a demon. In a flash, Soya takes down both the brothers, as well as any Tenjiku members that decide to come near him. Number 25, Nezuko goes full demon. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. Oh, Nezuko, sweet innocent little Nezuko. She may be a demon and all, but thanks to her big heart, she's managed to stay in her right mind up until this point. Daki shouldn't have played with her food too much, since a threat against Tanjiro's life results in her earning the ire of his sister. But this isn't the cutie pie we're used to. No, this is a Nezuko whose power can rival that of even an upper moon. Just like that, Daki goes from a threat to a pitiable creature. It's only until Tanjiro intervenes that we're able to see our favorite backpack dweller back to normal. Number 24, Sayaka's Despair, Madoka Magica. Hell hath no fury like a woman cucked. After giving everything in order to save her beloved Kyosuke from his ailments, she learns that now he's all fixed up, he's fallen in love. Just not with her.
まさか瞳だね。なんだ、京介のやつ隅に置けないな。
This means she's lost every reason she had to become a magical girl and drowns her sorrows in sheer violence. With no direction left in life, it's the witches who suffer her wrath, a path that would lead her to becoming one herself.
完全に消しちゃえるんだ。
Number 23, Dark Sonic, Sonic X. The final arc of Sonic X takes a much darker turn, and nowhere is this more apparent than in this scene where Sonic obtains a transformation we've never seen in any other Sonic media.
Chris was passed out! What did you do to him?
After seeing an unconscious Chris and terrified Cosmo, the negative energy within the Dark Chaos Emeralds begins to have an effect on Sonic and transforms him into a new dark form. Even when Black Narcissus unleashes two powerful robots against him, Dark Sonic makes quick work of them.
Alright then, let's test him out!
It's a form so unlike the Blue Blur that even Dr. Eggman is concerned for his well-being.
I don't think I've ever seen you this worked up before.
Number 22, Jinu solos Dongsuk and his underlings. Solo leveling. With all the skull-crushing Jinu had been doing in his grinding spree, it was only a matter of time before he was tasked with taking down some of his fellow dungeon wages. But you can't say they didn't push him. After leaving the two young lads for dead so they could reap the rewards the zone had to offer, they come back to check on the damage, only to find them still alive. Enraged by their selfish antics, Jinu finally snaps and takes them out one by one. His reservations about killing other humans fly out of the window. Number 21, Punch Drunk Sugimoto, Golden Kamui. Sugimoto and the crew would stop at nothing to find a Sirpa during this arc of the story. That includes participating in some good old-fashioned fisticuffs with Russians in a barn. However, Sugimoto's never-say-die attitude pushes him too far, and soon he's completely taken over by his thirst for blood. After wiping the floor with the other participants, he turns his attention to Gansoku. What follows is a stunning display of Sugimoto's brute strength as he dishes out everything against the behemoth of a man. In the end, he walks away the victor, but it isn't until he takes an unplanned skinny dip that he's able to get back to his senses. Number 20, giving into the Ghoul, Tokyo Ghoul. Trapped and continually tortured by a sadistic monster with a Friday the 13th fetish certainly has a way of putting someone in a bad headspace. With Yamori's constant mutilations combined with Rize haunting his mind, Kaneki's humanity slips away, resulting in him embracing his newfound ghoul nature, leading him to turn the tables on his tormentor.
Not only is he able to power through Yamori's transformed state, but he gives him a taste of his own fearful medicine by digging into him for dinner. Number 19, Bam snaps, Tower of God. One does not simply injure the beloved of an alpha simp. With the crown game coming to a close, Rachel suffers a lethal head wound when one of the masked combatants tries to take the throne from Bam. Overcome by such a sight, Bam's irregular nature kicks into gear and unleashes such a vast amount of high-tier shinsu that it cleaves out one of the navigator's eyes. Thankfully, the Black March chose to interfere before he totally lost it and tried to end her life as revenge for Rachel. Yeah, how's that attitude working out for you now, Bam? Number 18, Roll the Dice, Goblin Slayer. Don't you just love it when your party is on its last legs, only for you to land that all-important critical? Despite getting his body severely damaged by a goblin champion, the titular adventurer refuses to simply lay down and die. Instead, with nothing more than some hair and one hell of a second wind, he climbs atop the beast and strangles the ever-loving Gimli out of it until it suffocates. Pretty impressive for a man hemorrhaging a colossal amount of blood behind that helmet. Number 17, The Manslayer returns, Rurouni Kenshin. There are very few things that can push a changed man like Kenshin to revert back to the demon he was during his assassin career. Threatening to slice down a child just happens to be one of them. With Sho willing to use his bladed whip on an innocent, Kenshin is pushed to his limit, resolving to use the killer techniques of the Hiten Mitsurugi Ryu. If not for the reveal that he had been in possession of the reverse blade the whole time, Sho would be missing the lower half of his body from just one slash. Number 16, Dark Digivolution, Digimon Tamers. As heartbreaking as it might be to see something as adorable as Guilmon be turned into a grotesque data packet, that's what you get when you delete their friends right in front of them.
He's digivolving! Do it! That's it! Digivolve! I order you to digivolve to Mega!
In the wake of Leomon's demise, Takato embraces his malicious side and forces Guilmon to transform, which prompts a sudden digivolution to Megidramon, a mega level that is nigh uncontrollable and fixated on devouring his target. As with most things in Tamers, this was on a whole other level of dark.
I must admit this is not a very attractive sight of you, Pineapple Head! Now you're trolling on me!
Number 15, Alpha Stigma, The Legend of the Legendary Heroes. If you know the guy you've captured happens to be the vessel for an entity that can eradicate everything, why would you go out of your way to taunt him by attacking his friends and showing him the corpses of his fellow mages? Whatever the reason, the Magic Knights soon learned they were dealing with a literal devil, since Reiner's despair at such cruelty allowed the Alpha Stigma to take over, where it proceeds to do what it does best and erase everything in its sight. in the most gruesome way possible, of course. Number 14, Advance versus Removal, Kengan Ashura. Throughout the Kengan tournament, driven by his desire for revenge, Oma continuously relied on the double-edged sword that was the Advance, a power boost that could improve his strength, but at the cost of his lifespan. While usually able to put some manner of limit on himself, that all went out the window when up against Ryan Kure, and his equally sinister transformation of Removal. Unable to cope with the Taboo Descendants' onslaughts, Oma abandoned the warnings of his mentor and allowed the Advance to take hold, becoming a crimson-skinned monstrosity in his own right. Number 13, A Boxer's Wrath, Hajime no Ippo. Despite his cavalier attitude and sickening approach to the sport, Brian Hawk was nonetheless one hell of an obstacle challenge for Takamura to overcome. With so much force behind his punches, the champion eventually succeeded in rendering Takamura partially unconscious. Unluckily for him, in doing so, he awakened the Beast. Fueled with rage over how Hawk had previously injured Coach Kamigawa, his body acted instinctively and, relying on his training, pummeled the feathers out of Hawk until he was upchucking blood all over the ring. Number 12, The Laughing Arm, Twin Star Exorcists. 9 times out of 10, Rokuro is the nicest kid on the block. He can punch you to hell and back with his impurity arm, but he's still a chipper lad with a massive heart. Unless you're Yuto, then you're liable to get a meteor smash to the face. After the one-eyed killer tells Benio he never cared for her as a sister, Roku loses it. Sure, Yuto still knocks him around like a tennis ball, but it's the sight of our boy's arm howling in murderous glee while his eyes glow like a demon that sticks with us. Number 11, Cursed Shield, The Rising of the Shield Hero. Naofumi was already not in the best place mentally given his horrific treatment ever since being dropped into this corrupt kingdom, but watching his cherished talking chicken daughter get gobbled up by a zombie dragon, that's a bridge too far. Unlocking the Cursed Shield of Wrath, this highly destructive yet all-consuming form was certainly able to burn away the rot of the dragon, but given how it fed on his rage, it also had the unfortunate side effect of blurring Naofumi's perception of friend and foe together, leading to Best Girl Raftalia being injured in the process. Number 10, Kamui Unleashed, Kill la Kill. Ryuko has never been one to quell her temper during a fight, but it's fair to say that here she went totally off the rails. Not surprising, since her father's killer suddenly dropped in and happily confessed. Her resulting outrage proves to be so potent that Senketsu can't handle it, and consequently mutates her into a monstrous entity, complete with boiling blood and way too many teeth. It's a hell of a look for her, just a shame she wasn't able to use it to give Nui exactly what she deserved. Number 9, Mob Goes 100, Mob Psycho 100. On an average day, this little ball of awkwardness is just about the nicest guy you could meet. At least until you decide to beat up his brother. Then you might want to clear the area. Lest you fancy seeing Mob unleash his dark side. Koyama learns this the hard way, who for all his bravado and psychic abilities is woefully unprepared for Mob after he reaches 100% pissed off. As we all know, once he's at his emotional pinnacle, there's nothing that can stop him. Evidenced from when Mob sends his brother's attacker right into the ground, face first. Number 8, Monster Card Rampage, Yu-Gi-Oh!
You'll pay for that.
The world of children's card games is a cutthroat business, something Weevil Underwood learns firsthand when he unwisely jokes that Yugi is gone forever during a duel.
Yugi's gone forever!
Despite being armed with an impressive new deck, the Bug Boy ends up facing the Pharaoh's unbridled fury, given how he had just lost his partner in crime to the Seal of Orichalcos.
Attack again!
Without Yugi to play spiritual good cop, no one can stop the King of Games from attacking Weevil again and again until his life points are well into the minus numbers.
Please, Pharaoh! No more!
Let me go!
Number 7, Meliodas destroys Danafor, the 7 deadly sins. Well, at least we now know how the captain of the sins got his infamous moniker of Wrath.
これはバンドルのご飯じゃないよ。
In order to reclaim his lost demonic power, Meliodas is forced to relive the haunting moment where he lost control of his rage following the death of his beloved Liz. Unable to hold back the anger inside, the Dragon Sin's own dark power overwhelms him, reducing the kingdom of Danafor to nothing more than a crater in the process. Look on the bright side, Meliodas. At least your lover got reincarnated into an infant. But hey, beggars can't be choosers.
二度と絶対に
Number 6, Hollow Resurrection, Bleach. Apparently, not even a gaping hole in the torso is enough to keep this substitute Shinigami down. While initially overwhelmed by Ulquiorra's power, Orihime's cries of despair are all Ichigo needs to claw his way back from death. Only now bearing a much more nightmarish guise, one that comes complete with a lot of Predator sound effects and a crazy amount of laser beams. Now more powerful than even the Espada's Segunda Etapa form, Ichigo and his inner hollow proceed to rip Ulquiorra to pieces. Yep, this is all on you, Orihime. Well done. Number 5, Cemetery Battle, Gintama. Despite being famed for his sword skills, as well as being a demon on the battlefield, Gintoki Sakata is mostly known for acting like a complete doofus, one who always ends up failing at even the simplest of odd jobs. Not in this case. After Otose ends up wounded via the blade of her rival Deva and former friend Jirochu, Gin goes full-on white demon. Armed with nothing more than his trusty wooden sword, he easily crushes nearly every gravestone in sight while trying to put Jirochu 6 feet under. Number 4, Naruto lets the fox out the bag, Naruto Shippuden. We'll admit it was an odd time for Hinata to find the courage to confess her love to a ninja heartthrob, but it at least ended up giving us this epic scene.
ナルトくんが大好きだから。
While trying to defend Naruto from Pain's assault, the Hyuga heiress finds herself grievously wounded. The knuckle-headed ninja doesn't take too kindly to this, once again losing control to the demon fox inside of him. Now completely taken over by his rage, Naruto instantly goes all the way to 6 tails. Pain may have his own fair share of internal baggage, but he's got nothing on a teen Jinchuriki who just watched his future wife get stabbed. Number 3, Guts cuts off his own arm. Berserk. We had to get a little creative with this one, seeing how bloody rampages are kind of Guts' bread and butter. The Black Swordsman may have angrily sliced his way through plenty of demons and enemy soldiers in his time, but in terms of sheer desperation, nothing tops the time where he was willing to mutilate his own arm to escape the jaws of an apostle. Of course, given how Casco was being violated by Griffith at the time, you can kind of see why he would be willing to go so far. It's a hellish sight to behold, the only thing more unnerving being the savage expression spread across Guts' face. Now that is rage. Griffith! Number 2, Gon vs Pitou. Hunter x Hunter. You wouldn't have thought a good kid like Gon would have had a dark side. Pitou probably thought so too, at least until he decided to taunt him with the corpse of his deceased friend. After discovering that his buddy Kite was gone for good, Gon gives into his hatred and unleashes all of his latent nen, transforming into an older version of himself equipped with enough strength to match the king of the Chimera Ants. Fueled by the desire to seek vengeance on the wicked Kitty, the young hunter proceeds to smash Pitou's face to bloody chunks, to the point where the royal guard is left essentially headless. Ouch.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, Ava 01, The Beast. Neon Genesis Evangelion. The good news, Shinji got back in the robot. The bad news, it's gone totally feral and developed quite a taste for angel flesh. When one of the alien invaders nearly overpowers them, Shinji pleads for his Ava unit to get a second wind, something that seems to strike a chord with the sentient mecha, leading it to go berserk and slaughtering the angel. All before chowing down. All the nerve agents can do is hopelessly look on as Unit 01 goes primal.
What's your favorite Berserk scene in anime? Let us know in those comments below.